History is more than dates and dead people, and it's more than just an academic discipline. It's an invaluable window into the past. It tells us where we've come from. It also gives us an idea of where we're going. It tells us what has been successful, and it warns us about what mistakes we shouldn't repeat. History is a fascinating thing to explore. It's also something that can be abused by people who have agendas. For instance, take the history of the United States. Revisionist historians have often claimed that the Founding Fathers were not Christian and that they fully intended to establish the United States as a secular nation. We see these kinds of claims appear in the writings of militant atheists who try to use it as a tool to marginalize Christians and guarantee a home field advantage in discussions over morality and social issues. So, let's ask a basic question here. Were the Founding Fathers Christians? Let's take a look at what some of them had to say about the Christian faith. During the American Revolution, General George Washington issued these orders from his base in New York on the 9th of July, 1776. The Honorable Continental Congress, having been pleased to allow a chaplain to each regiment with the pay of $33 1/3 per month, the colonels or commanding officers of each regiment are directed to procure chaplains accordingly, persons of good characters and exemplary lives, to see that all inferior officers and soldiers pay them a suitable respect and attend carefully upon religious exercises. The blessing and protection of heaven are at all times necessary, but especially so in times of public distress and danger. The general hopes and trusts that every officer and man will endeavor so to live and act as becomes a Christian soldier, defending the dearest rights and liberties of his country. Washington seems to be saying that chaplains would be paid as government employees and that the soldiery would be asked to attend religious exercises. This certainly doesn't sound very secular. Well, one of the most important figures for secularists is Thomas Jefferson, who is often claimed to be a deist, if not an atheist. In a letter to Dr. Benjamin Rush on the 21st of April, 1803, Jefferson said this: "Dear sir, in some of the delightful conversations with you in the evenings of 1798 through 99, and which served as an anodyne to the afflictions of the crisis through which our country was then laboring, the Christian religion was sometimes our topic, and I then promised you that one day or other I would give you my views of it. They are the result of a life of inquiry and reflection, and very different from that anti-Christian system imputed to me by those who know nothing of my opinions. To the corruptions of Christianity I am indeed opposed, but not to the genuine precepts of Jesus himself. I am a Christian in the only sense he wished anyone to be, sincerely attached to his doctrines in preference to all others." Jefferson is often claimed to have been one of the most irreligious of the Founding Fathers, second only to perhaps Benjamin Franklin. And yet a careful look at his writings makes it very clear that he did oppose the corruptions of Christianity, which are clear to any student of European history from the early medieval period through the Protestant Reformation, but Jefferson himself admired and promoted the moral teachings of Christ. Noah Webster, the author of the first American dictionary, was a strong supporter of the American Revolution, as well as the Christian religion. Webster said, "Citizens should early understand that the genuine source of correct Republican principles is the Bible, particularly the New Testament or the Christian religion. Almost all the civil liberty now enjoyed in the world owes its origin to the principles of the Christian religion. Civil liberty has been gradually advancing and improving as genuine Christianity has prevailed. The religion which has introduced civil liberty is the religion of Christ and his apostles, which enjoins humility, piety, and benevolence, which acknowledges in every person a brother or a sister and a citizen with equal rights. This is genuine Christianity, and to this we owe our free constitutions of government." These are just a few quotes that help to establish the religious viewpoint of the Founding Fathers. That they were religious is obvious to any student of history. That they claimed to be Christians is clearly indicated by their writings. They celebrated the Christian faith and identified it as a basis of the freedoms that they sought to guarantee. And we can see that their influence is woven into the very fabric of the Bill of Rights and the U.S. Constitution. This alone doesn't mean that Christianity is true, and it doesn't mean that secularism is necessarily bad. But it does mean that any secularist claiming that the United States was intended to be an irreligious country needs to do a little bit of research.